To find out what's going on, we asked our volunteers to take a lie detector test.
I'm going to put one around your stomach, and I'm going to put one around your chest. Okay. Just going to take a reading from one of them. Try to breathe normally without taking any deep breaths or holding your breath.
Okay.
Try not to nod or shake your head. Just say yes and no.
I am the owner of a financial and accounting recruitment firm. I'm very money driven. I want to have nice holidays, you know, I want to get my convertible sports car. And in the next 6 months, they're my goals. So I'm going to achieve them. I'm going to make sure it happens.
All right, I'm about to start the test.
Okay.
All I want to hear from you is a yes or a no.
Okay.
Is your first name Lucy?
Yes.
Have you had around 10 sexual partners in your lifetime?
No.
Have you had more than 10 sexual partners in your lifetime?
Yes. I have had more sexual partners than I admitted to. You know the reasons as to probably why I didn't want to sort of announce it, but yes, I have.
Well, what are the reasons?
Well, I think the main reasons is sort of, you know, the reputation side of it. You know, I want to attract a nice man. I think the man out there is still old-fashioned in his views and points. I think that, you know, he still likes a very sort of feminine type of girl who, and the thought of him, I've slept with a lot of men, you know, disgust him.
When they filled in our anonymous online survey, men and women did admit to having the same numbers of sexual partners. And what's more, nearly a quarter of both sexes admitted to having been unfaithful to a long-term partner. We also found that whatever their past experience, men predicted more than twice as many sexual partners in the future than women did. So even though men are distracted by the idea of sex, they aren't more promiscuous than women after all. It's just that they'd like to be. So, one myth busted. What about the other stereotypes?
Women are more emotional. We're more understanding, friendlier, sensitive, caring.
But are women really more caring? We hired an 8-year-old actress, fitted her with a secret camera, and abandoned her on a London street. This is what happened next. This test is a measure of empathy, the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes, and to act appropriately.
Hello, darling.
You're right, sweetheart.
Yeah.
You're waiting for someone, Pet.
Yeah, my mummy's just gone in Sainsbury's.
How long has she been?
Don't know.
Do you want some company?
Well, I think it was shock to both of us to see a little girl sitting all on her own up against a cement wall.
Yes, and you just wanted to go in and protect her and
that's
make sure that she was okay.
But it was just common sense. When you see a little girl on her own, you don't walk past her.
I saw her twice, actually, going down and coming back up. I thought she was probably waiting for somebody in the hairdresser's, actually.
I know she actually did have quite a brand new pair of shoes on, so I thought she doesn't look as if she's in a large amount of trouble.
I'm a male on my own, aren't I? And if I'm seen talking to little girls like that, what's the reaction?
Of all the excuses given for doing nothing, concern about being seen as a paedophile seems the most plausible. But note that none of the men alerted the authorities or asked a woman to help on their behalf. During the hour we filmed, 41 women stopped to help. Some of them were so concerned that they came back several times. But only 2 men stopped, and one of them was with a woman. 22% of women offered help, as opposed to just 1% of men. But this is just one test, and one way of measuring empathy. Our volunteers are about to try another. Former para Paddy Doyle runs a boxing gym.
If it wasn't for fitness, I'd be in prison. You know, I would be.
Paddy holds 130 world records for fitness and endurance. He is officially the world's fittest athlete.
I've had to be selfish while doing my sport. And it's affected my relationships because women couldn't take that. It was either the world records or them. And unfortunately, I went for the world records.
Like the others, Paddy has filled in a detailed psychological questionnaire designed to measure empathy. Of the 500,000 people who took part in our online survey, over 90% of the top scorers were women. Men were very much in second place.
How do you think your husband would do on this? How do you think his
empathy
scores?
score, you're having a laugh right at bottom. Men have no empathy, no.
OK, well, let's talk to a man to see how he feels about that.
For empathising, I got 12 out of 20.
Oh, are we surprised?
Yes, I am very.
Thought it would have been a bit less. Yeah, so that has surprised me.
In the empathy test, Paddy actually outscored all the other men, and all but 2 of the women.
Paddy's breaking the mould and showed that some men can be very empathic. What about you?
Definitely not the case. Apparently, according to this test, I got 3 out of 20. Apparently, I've been told I do lack a bit of empathy. And I have tried using it in a sentence before, like saying, I empathise with you. But apparently, that's not empathy.
Can I suggest you go to Paddy for some lessons?
I will.
Liz and Craig Watson have a personal interest in empathy.
Everyone looks so happy, don't they? It seemed very idyllic, really. I remember just feeling very comfortable with you then. Craig is very calculating. He's very stubborn, incredibly stubborn.
Liz is the opposite of myself. She's almost too fiery, too almost out of control at times.
I don't feel Craig understands me hardly at all. And we've gone out sometimes and Craig's had a book and he's reading the book when we're out. You know, that really upsets me, actually.
To be fair, I probably haven't done that for several years.
You've done it recently. Craig is living the life of a bachelor, actually. And, he's a great bachelor.
Liz and Craig blame each other for their failure to communicate. So in an unusual move, we've asked neurologist Ruben Gurr to examine their brains.
So here is the scanner, and what we will get is an image of your brain anatomy, but more importantly, we'll get images of what parts of the brain become active when you have to solve specific kinds of problems.
A key part of empathy is recognizing how other people feel.
We'll start doing the tests, and the first test is the test of emotion recognition. And you'll have to answer whether the face looks to you like a positive or a negative emotion.
To me, communication is mostly about the non-verbal, not what you actually say, but what you're feeling. And I think Craig's not that in touch with his feelings enough.
Actually, maybe I've got perhaps more sensitivity in that area than I'm given credit for, and vice versa, that Lizzie hasn't got quite as much strength in that area as she gives herself credit for.
Well, that's interesting. I just learnt something else.
If the scan reveals that Liz and Craig read other people's emotion differently, then some of their misunderstandings might be instantly explained.
The part of the brain that deals with emotions is right in the center of the brain, right here. Liz shows